Ethan Sears, our Islanders beat writer for the Post. I got to get your take, my man, on the Isles locking up the number one pick in the draft. And, of course, the search for a new GM. But first, let's talk draft. But first, hey, man, how you doing? Long time, no see. The Islanders had a 3.5% and the 10th best chance of winning the lottery. They got it. They locked up the first pick for the fifth time in franchise history and the first since 2009. What was your initial reaction when you saw that they won the rights to the number one pick?
Well, Brandon, first of all, thanks for having me. Doing good. Good to see you as well. And I mean, just astonishment, really. I mean, the way they did this, they broadcast the actual drawing live, so you could see as the ping pong balls were coming up, they were showing the live odds of what each team winning the lottery was, and the Islanders kept going up and up. They needed a 5 or a 13 at the end. They got 13. Like you said, their chances of winning were just 3.5%. So it's not something that you really thought of as a serious possibility. And it's just monumental for the franchise. It's a chance to draft a player who can be a cornerstone. It's a chance to, improve a prospect pipeline that's been pretty much bereft for the last 4 or 5 years. It injects some real excitement into a fan base that kind of needed something to rally around. And as our colleague Larry Brooks pointed out to me last night, the Islanders, they lost to the Rangers 4 times last season. They finished 3 points behind them in the standings. If they had won just one of those games, those two teams, their places would have been reversed in the standings. And therefore, their lottery combinations would have been reversed. And then we would be having a very different conversation right now.
You talked about they've put themselves in position to draft a cornerstone, a franchise piece, someone who can get them going on the right track. Who could the Islanders grab with that first pick?
So right now, the three names that you see kind of at the top of everybody's draft boards are Matthew Schaefer, who's a defenseman, and Michael Misa and James Higgins, who are both forwards, both centers. Schaefer played last year with the Erie Otters in the Ontario Hockey League. He's at the top of most of those lists. The Islanders really don't have much of anything in their pipeline in terms of defensive prospects. So you would think that makes sense for them. But Higgins, he's a Long Island native. He grew up in Hauppauge. Him and his family are apparently diehard Islanders fans. So there's going to be a lot of temptation there to take the local kid. And Michael Meese is incredibly talented as well. Had 134 points with the Saginaw Spirit, also in the OHL last year. So three really good options. Maybe there's potential to trade back and take a Higgins at second or third overall. Obviously, it's very early in the process, and the Islanders don't have a general manager right now. So, we'll see how that kind of plays out. But certainly there's options available for the Islanders.
Yeah, I was going to say before you make a draft pick, you have to pick a GM. So, who are some of the names that you're hearing that they could hire? And do you think that them getting the number one pick could affect who they hire now?
Uh-huh. I think this was a pretty attractive job opening before the number one pick. Obviously, that's another thing in the pros column. Maybe if you're John Collins, who's running the search, it makes you, look at somebody's background in terms of developing players a little more. But I don't think it changes things a ton. Um, in terms of names you're hearing, one name that was pretty hot over the weekend is Mark Bergevin, who was the GM in Montreal for a while. He's currently serving as a senior advisor to the Kings. And that situation got a little more interesting on Monday because the Kings and Rob Blake, who was their longtime GM, mutually parted ways. So, of course, right away you think number one, is Rob Blake now a candidate for the Islanders, and number two, is Mark Bergevin now a candidate for the Kings? I'm not sure whether Rob Blake wants to take another front office job right away, but if you're the Islanders, certainly that's a phone call you make and a conversation you have. And Bergevin, I would expect to be a candidate in LA as well. He's worked there for the last few years and gets along well with Luke Robitaille, who's the president there. Um, Other names you hear connected with the Islanders, especially if they're hiring a president of hockey operations before a general manager. Ken Holland's name has been out there, former GM in Detroit and in Edmonton. Jarmo Kekalainen, who was with the Blue Jackets for a long time, are both have both been pretty prominently discussed. And then other names, there's a lot of assistant GMs who have been kind of tossed out there. Matthew Darsh is one, Kate Madigan is another. I think it is and it has been a pretty wide ranging search, and it'll be interesting to see whether they end up hiring two people, a president of hockey ops and a general manager, or they continue to combine that role, as they did with Lou Lamoriello, who had both titles.
All right, Ethan Sears, thanks for your time, my man.
You bet. Thanks, Brandon.